So Brian, how's life at Enterprise?
So far, so good.
You guys are recording. You know you're ready to go.
I know.
You guys are live now.
We're good. All right, John, we're ready to go.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, John. All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the Rocky Hill Public Building Commission meeting of Monday, September 13th at 5:34 p.m. First item up is the approval of our draft minutes from.
So moved.
Second.
You lose Brian?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Am I there?
Yes.
We're good.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Did you guys hear anything that I just said?
Yeah. And a motion was moved to approve and Sal seconded it.
Okay, thank you. My phone blacked out and went silent. Okay. Do a roll call vote, please. Let's see. We have a motion made in a second. So let's see, is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Let's see. Sal, yay or nay?
Yay.
David,
Yay.
Tom,
Yay.
and Steve.
Yay.
Okay. I don't believe anybody else has joined us yet, so that is it. All right. Next item, public comment. John, did we have anybody that wanted to public comment?
No requests for tonight.
No requests. Okay. Moving on. Community Senior Center Project, discussions and updates from our owner's rep, Colliers. David, that would be you.
Okay, good evening. Let's see, so financially, I did send out a financial status report right before the meeting. It's like a moving target. I'm updating that almost on a daily basis. So I figured I'd send you the latest because I knew Mona had to send some additional information. So I figured I'd pile onto that. Thank you, Mona.
No problem.
So of the, for the financial status report that you received maybe a couple hours ago or a few hours ago, the total project budget is 10.5 million, of which we have just over 10.1 million under contract. And then of the 10.1 million under contract, we've paid out about 9.5 million, just under 9.5 million. And there's about $674,000 that is unpaid of what's under contract. The majority of that, as you can guess, is PACs, is for PAC. In plan but not contracted, we've got just over $350,000 that we're still planning on spending. The majority of that is a planned item in the contingency log, which is attached at the end of this financial status report. And the bottom line is, the bottom right is, we're showing a balance in the project of just over $18,000. Now that balance in the project includes everything that is in the contingency log that is outstanding, that is either planned or approved. So anything that's unshaded basically in the contingency log is in that 18.4 balance number. So as you can see in there, there's quite a bit of items that we're planning on in there, but we're getting close. We're about just over $18,000 balance left in the project with assuming everything that's in the contingency log we're going to be spending. And I don't know if you need me to go through any.
Just one point of clarification.
Sure.
So you said in the contingency log, everything that was shaded.
Yeah.
What about those that are unshaded?
Unshaded are pretty much pending items, so they are in that number. They are included.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was the case.
Yeah, pretty much anything that's shaded, Tom, it has either been approved or has been rejected or deferred.
Okay,
But anything that's not shaded is pretty much pending, and that is in the number.
just so the rest of the membership would know.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, David. Anybody have any questions for Colliers?
No, actually, David, if you could bring the rest of the team up to par on, you've got several outstanding items for the inspections that have been in on-site inspections for life safety.
Sure.
I don't know, are any of the numbers that you're talking about here in the pending, have you put a plug number for any of these items yet for that list?
They're all a plug number. I have no hard pricing yet. That is my wag at what I think it's going to cost, but
I guess the question is it all from your total list that you have in front of us, you've accounted for what you think those life safety issues to your knowledge from the latest list you've received?
yes.
That's in these numbers.
Yep, that is in those numbers. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Along with general conditions and, any other outstanding pending change orders are on there. But yes, Sal, it includes everything. We've captured everything that I can think of from the town, either the fire marshal, building, engineering.
What about the toilet clog? Is that plugged in here somewhere?
It is. Yep.
Okay, all right. I don't know if you want to explain that a little further to the team, or did we already discuss at the last meeting? Just a quick overview.
Yeah, I don't remember. Basically, we've got a plug sanitary line, an existing line that feeds the men's and women's room near I'll call it the ramp, near the ramp by the nurses area. There's a men's and a ladies room there, an existing one. The line that serves those bathrooms is plugged. We've brought in 3 companies so far to try to clear it out. We got one snake caught. Paul, I'm not sure if the guy was able to come out again today. But yeah, we're trying to do everything we can right now, short of cutting open a slab and finding the blockage and determining what it is. The line was not on any as-built drawings or survey drawings. The excavation for the footings along the offices and the human human services area where the offices are. This line is well below the footings that was there. So when the footings were being excavated for the addition, it was never even encountered. So we don't know if it's damaged from construction, if it's just plugged full of, it's an old cast iron line, if it's plugged full of flaked off stuff from a year of inactivity and it's just collected in an elbow or a low spot. We're not really sure. We're having difficulties getting a camera to it. That was going to be the effort today, was to see if we can get a camera in from the inside of the building to see what the snake that's caught in the line now, if we can see what it's caught on. And so we're still working on it. Paul, I don't know if you have any updates, but it's a sewer line. It's a plug sanitary line that we're dealing with. We're trying to avoid, like I said, if we have to open up the slab inside Craig's office and that area, it's going to be a big deal. And so we're trying to avoid that.
I think the other observation Paul made earlier, and I don't know if he's already satisfied this curiosity, but there's always the possibility that that line might actually be abandoned, the one that the head got caught in. I don't know if Paul's if he's further investigated that today. But when we get to Paul,
Yeah.
maybe Paul, you can expand on that a little bit more for the team, for the entire.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, we've been trying to trace out this line. There's a couple different lines under the slab and a couple different lines that exit the building. So we're just trying to confirm and trace out exactly what lines are fed where. Unfortunately, we don't have an update from today. The contractor actually pushed till tomorrow to get back into the line through the camera and kind of see where everything stands. We're also contemplating popping a toilet off in the men's room and kind of backfeeding it from there just to see where the men's room runs. So unfortunately, with no as-builts, we're kind of just trying to map it out and see the lay of the land before we go too far.
Yeah, my other question about it, and I don't want to beat this too much more until you have more information, but I'm assuming if the sanitary line is got to be the same for the water, correct? You know, if you're running a sink in there, it goes down the same line. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends if it tees off or Y's off. We did see water running in the manhole, so we're assuming it tees off at some point. But again, we're just trying to track it down to see where that water's coming from and see if we can get a different route in.
What my curiosity was, and the reason for asking that was, has anyone run and just let that water in a sink run and see if that fills
Yeah,
up?
the bathroom's actually backed up into the clean out in the corridor.
Right, but is that just from the water or from the toilet? When I say water, I'm talking about a sink water, just letting it run for a while.
That I don't know.
Phil, do you know if we've done anything like it or even attempted? That was one suggestion from a plumber I was speaking to who's been doing this for like 40 years. He said, see if you have any issues with that too. And then that might tell a little bit of a story. I don't know what, but.
Yeah, well, you know, originally what brought all this upon us was that plunging of a toilet and the water backing up through the first clean out in the hallway.
Hmm.
So obviously there was a block, you know, between, you know, the toilet and wherever. So the first attempt with the snake was from inside from that clean out. The first attempt, the gentleman just hit something that wasn't sure what it was, but it was something that's solid.
Yeah.
And he back up and hit it again, back up and hit it again. He stopped. The next day he has more equipment. So his brother came in with a snake and a camera. Again, he tried his snake, ran his snake through that same clean out towards the outdoors and hit something solid. And when he hit something solid, he tried pulling it back. When he tried pulling it back, it wouldn't come back. So that's why it stuck. So at that point, he sent his camera in. So his camera got to a point where he saw some sludge. You know, we're not sure. We're not sure what it is. I know Dave has the thumb drives. It does show, but that particular line was full of sewage. So my HVAC mechanic with a wet vac went to the clean out just before where the snake is stuck, which is a second one within the line, sucking out. So the camera that he's sending in can see, you know, above the water. So, you know, it was a mess. It was, you know, like 10 to 12 trips of, you know, wet vac bucket going out and emptying it. But he was concerned about his camera going further and getting that stuck. So he wouldn't push it any further than, and he estimated that he ended about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 feet from where the snake ended. When the snake was in there, he did ping the snake and he got to where he thinks the end of the snake is stuck. And basically, that's how far we went that particular day. But as far as running water from the sink, all it's going to do is fill up the pipe if the blockage is still there, and it's going to come out of that first hole.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Hey, Tom, do you think, those cable pullers they use in the utility line pulls from underground? Do you think that somehow could be utilized to be attached to this guy's snake and get him out? He's about a foot. He pushed it down in the hole, but he's got about a foot and a half or so that sticks up out of the floor drain, the clean out rather. But if you just put something in there with enough tugging power, you think that could do anything? You think you have anything like that?
Well, I mean, we definitely have tuggers, but and it's either going to grab it or it's going to snap the snake even further. Depending on what it's stuck on. I mean, I think, the game plan is to get enough pressure behind it and move whatever's in there out, unless it's gotten so hard that it's like, cement or concrete in there.
Right.
Where it's not moving. I mean, I had this problem once before with a grease trap where it wasn't flowing. And fortunately, after several tries of pressure, we were able to get it, water pressure, we were able to get it clear and the line clean. But, the grease was all trapped in there. And I don't know what's dumping in there or, I mean, this is just a sanitary line, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So who knows what somebody flushed down the toilet or what have you,
Sure.
I think the main thing is to me is you got to get eyes on it. That's, I mean, if you try ripping the snake out, that's fine. And Tom, I think you hit it on the head. What if it's snake? What if it breaks within, the pipe? The point is we got to get eyes to where the snake is stuck.
Right.
What it's stuck on, and the damage that it may occurred, while it's being stuck there. So.
Right.
But I think there's companies out there that have just better equipment to get, a snake out, 200 feet at least. Because that's probably the estimated footage between the pit and this blockage.
One of the company names that were thrown out, I don't know if you guys used them at all. Another company that was given high recommendations for this kind of a situation is a company called Superior. They're a sewage line company. I'm not even sure where they're out of. I can find more information out unless you want to just take it from where you have it now.
There's another company out in Colchester area, Savvy and Sons, and I know they've done work here for our highway guys in sewers. Whether I'm not sure how big these tubes are that they had to go in to send cameras through, but I had conversations with them, and they felt confident that they would be able to, from the pit in, send a camera through so we can get eyes on it. Also there's also bellies in the line that, a couple of these camera companies that came in with their cameras, I think you also need, a company that will also be able to suck that line out. That far in also.
Mm-hmm. Now that pressure that when you put that in, when you're blowing that pressurized water, isn't there like a ball that expands within the pipe, correct, Paul? That then forces the pressure in one direction. I know in my house they had to do that once, where it was a smaller version of it, but it's got like a ball on the end that expands when you start turning on the water, blocks the pipe from the backflow. Is anybody doing anything like that?
No, we mostly, without putting eyes on where the snake is stuck, we don't want to send more equipment in. We've tried hitting it from the outside in, with no luck there.
Okay.
So the point of today was The point of today was bringing in someone with a pump to clear the line and then get the camera to where the snake is stuck.
Okay, so
Unfortunately, it pushed to tomorrow.
right, but to that end, where are we? Because we've been talking about this for about 3-4 weeks now. So where are we?
Yeah, but we've only had it for 3 or 4 days.
What's that?
I mean, we've only had it for less than a week. Originally, it was in your hands, so I have no problem giving it back to you guys if you want to run with it.
Well, if your guy's coming out tomorrow, let's let him come out tomorrow and try putting in his camera from the building side. I mean, that's been our plan. If that doesn't work, we got to reassess and figure out what we want to do.
Okay.
Dave, did you mention that you had money in one of those contingency lines for this? Set
I do
aside?
have it. I do, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Is it item 109?
correct.
Okay. And
Okay.
One more question. Are we finished with the sanitary line?
Yeah, I am.
Just another question, Dave. On your change order list, you have a $12,000 credit. Was that related to what Paul mentioned associated with that, some sort of metal, aluminum,
The
Correct.
panels, the panel.
change in material?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else for Colliers? I mean, Dave, do you want to just kind of give us I guess a snapshot of where we're at? I mean, obviously we were supposed to have a grand opening ceremony this coming weekend. That's been pushed off. Where's the project? Just a snapshot in time here.
Yeah, the metal panels we were just talking about, basically on the exterior of the building, in layman's terms, wherever you see yellow, those metal panels have been, I'll chalk it up to COVID, but there's getting the insulated metal panels that was specified has been a challenge. We've been exploring all kinds of alternate material manufacturers and approaches, and it feels like we're getting close. But worst case is that might not be done until sometime in November. In terms of, so we've had the town departments have walked through, I guess it was last week, and given us their laundry list of items that need to be addressed, some signage, some exit signs. The big ones are the egress lighting along the ramp in the back by the police impoundment lot, and then also by the preschool doors, and then also the railing that we talked about a few months back, that exterior exit from the games room that goes onto a landing that is, 22 inches tall and with a cheek wall. And we were concerned about a tripping hazard there. So if you recall, a few months ago, we talked about, well, we don't necessarily need it by code, but we recognize that it is a potential hazard. So we talked about back then, we talked about putting a planter there or a bench or something. When the town came through, they looked at it and said, listen, that's a problem and we got to do something. So those are the bigger items on the fire marshal's list. The sprinkler head conflicts in the multi-purpose room has been addressed. And in the arts room, we still have some light fixture moving around to do in the arts room. Let's see, QAM issued a partial certificate of substantial completion. I'll speak for Rocco, but it sounded like QAM was hesitant to issue a full certificate of substantial completion with some life safety issues being outstanding. They want the life safety issues addressed before they will issue a full certificate of substantial completion. And so that's why a partial was issued. As far as I know, proposal requests are being developed by Rocco and would be submitted to PAC for pricing for, the additional exit signs, the bathroom sign, the egress lighting, and the handrails. Those are the bigger ones. I saw an email from Rocco just before the meeting saying he anticipates having the life safety issues in hand enough. I'm speaking for you, Rocco, but where I think QAM would be comfortable enough to know that they are in the works, in progress. But the hope is to issue the balance of the certificate of substantial completion for next week. There is a concern with, we have the list from the town. We're putting together proposal requests. By the time we get proposal requests out, get it priced and get materials ordered, the concern is that I'm not sure what the lead time on that sort of materials is. We're trying to pick light fixtures and things that will be, pretty readily available. I think Rocco, the concern was, or Paul, one of you guys said that, your big concern is the steel railing, the galvanized railing outside of the arts room ramp there.
What's the concern, Dave? Delivery?
Yeah, this steel in general is long.
Yeah, if you run into a problem with the railing, let me know.
Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else that's worth noting. All the furniture is in, existing furniture is in, fitness equipment is in. HB was there today. I think they're finishing up tomorrow. The only thing they had left to do was the cameras in the multi-purpose rooms that show, a presenter or the audience. I think there's 3 or 4 cameras. They're all wired. They're all ready to go. We didn't want them in there installing the cameras until the sprinkler head work was done. So they, like I said, they are back today, and I think the plan is that they're back again tomorrow. Let's see, BVH, our commissioning agent, it looks like we're getting close to having them come out to do their final look through. They've asked for every piece of documentation in the world, so we have punch lists from QAM, from us, from the town, from RZ. I know as-built are in. Paul, I don't know if the electrical as-bilt's in. One of the as-bilts was outstanding still. And once the certificate of substantial completion, the final one is issued, then we'll get all of the warranty information, of course, at that time. Brian, I don't know if I hit everything. I think I hit everything.
Yeah, that sounds good. Anybody have anything else for David?
No, I have a list of questions, but I think I'm gonna wait till Rocco's complete, or excuse me, Paul, if he's last to go.
Okay.
See what the answers are first.
Well, with nothing else for David, we will move on to our architect, QA&M. Rocco, it's all yours.
Mine. Dave stole all my thunder. Yeah, we're nearing completion. We have some outstanding issues as brought out by the fire marshal and the building department. And we're also in touch. I don't know, was everybody copied on that email that I sent to Tom? Or do we need to bring people up to speed?
You're talking about the
Yeah, just
occupancy.
the occupancy, the outstanding items such as, the lights. I mean, I can share my screen with a little plan to show everybody kind of where the fire marshal was talking, if you wish.
Sure, why not?
All right. So essentially we have a request for an added light here at the corner. Another light here along this walkway. another light here along the walkway, and then out in the back here. So they just want to make sure that the egress path out of this door is covered, as well as kind of the back walk here out into the police impound lot area is where that is. I guess,
Rocco, this is Brian.
Yeah.
So this is obviously brought up from them after seeing the lights on at night versus knowing about our plans for however long.
yep. Yeah, it was kind of just pointed out and brought to our attention. I mean, they've been good, you know, Mike Violet and Rich have been walking through the building, you know, pretty much every week through the whole project and bringing stuff up. And then this is just one that they caught just now.
Good, thank you.
Yep. And as far as the metal panel, Dave brought that up too. We are getting a substitute material. We should have some sort of mock on site. I'll let Paul talk about that. But we're supposed to see that Wednesday or Thursday. And I can let Paul, you know, talk about the rest of the schedule too. So, and if anybody has any questions.
So Rocco, this is Brian again. As far as these metal panels go, I mean, has there been consideration to go with a non-insulated metal panel? Because it seems to, from what I'm seeing, it seems like insulation is what's messing everything up across the
Right.
trades.
Yep.
So we
Correct.
can get away from that and go to just a metal panel. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, the problem is finding the right one. You know, it's thick enough. So I mentioned to Pac, you know, I'd be satisfied with like an Alucobond type panel. I just don't want something that goes up there in oil cans, similar to what we had with the siding. So in the initial design, by using the insulated panel as kind of a rain screen system, we eliminate the oil canning, we eliminate, you know, denting as it were, you know, through the life of the panel. So Premier and Pac have come up with a substitute that we're going to take a look at this week.
Okay.
That's the one we're talking about where it's field applied insulation over the metal panel? Or did you want
Correct.
something else?
Yeah, and then it can, didn't you say it could be factory applied as well, Paul?
Well, they can do it controlled in their shop, but the ISO is the problem. The material to make ISO, you simply can't find right now. The hurricane made it worse. But what they're proposing is to get the material either on site or in their shop to bend the metal and then field applicate or shop apply the insulation of our choosing that's readily available. And again, the insulation is just purely to help the panel from not oil canning.
Right. I personally would rather see it shop applied. And because I think you control that a little bit better. And I think if you have any mistakes, it's not already up in the wall. That has to be removed. You know, if there's any errors or oil canning just in the process of installing it or adhering it to the insulation. And is everybody good with extruded polystyrene that we talked about last Thursday? David, I mean, this is kind of running along. You're good with it either way?
Yeah, I think you want to stick with the EPS right now. As he said, polyiso, you can't get it.
Right.
You just 6 months. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It just kicked up another 2 months on top of that, David, in certain areas. We just got noticed the other
Yeah,
day.
because of the hurricane.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, I mean, I think it's got a greater R value than polyiso anyway.
No, polyiso is going to be the highest that you're going to get. But if for the small amount of wall area we're talking about here, we're not talking about anything that's going to be.
I'd be more concerned with wind damage down the road. I mean, is anybody concerned with this peeling off or would it be any different, I guess, is the question. If it was a sandwiched product, I would think would be sturdier in the wind, as opposed to possibly being ripped off in a heavy hurricane wind. Is anybody concerned with that? And what is the adhesive?
It's really got to It's really got the same application intent as the Kingspan or the MBCI, so I really don't have a concern with that.
Yeah, you're still screwing through the panel back into the structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have anything else for Rocco at this time? All right, hearing none. Rocco, you are relieved. Now we're on to Pac and Paul, who is on the phone. You're up, Paul.
Yeah, so just a quick update regarding schedule. We're working to finalize the punch list with QA&M and Colliers. It incorporates the majority of the town comments. So that'll be the big push, issuing it to subcontractors and re-engaging with them to get it closed out. We already talked about the metal panels. We do have a substitute from Newcastle, which is Drexel. So we're mocking that up on Thursday. We'll have a panel to look at on the wall. They are more readily available. They're saying they can get us a coil within a week, so we can start bending metal potentially within a week. And they did offer us a credit as well. That was a $12,000 credit that John talked about originally. So there is some incentive there, and obviously we get the exterior wrapped up, but it's all going to depend on what that panel looks like on Thursday. And we're still going back and forth about the grading in the back parking lot, but the manhole and catch basin were cut down, so everything does drain freely now. There is no ponding, so that's a good thing. And really, it's just trying to get the life safety issues priced up and in place.
Okay, Sal, you said you had a bunch of questions.
Well, I don't know about a bunch, but I got several. And I don't really know which one. I guess it really has to be addressed to all three at the same time. That punch list we saw that had 294 items on it dated back to, I think, late June, early July. I'm assuming a lot of that is completed. Is that correct? So can we get PAC, are we at a position where we can give PAC their final punch list and just, this is it? Are we not complete in areas enough to do that? Who wants to take that question? David or Rocco?
Well, I've been talking to Kyle and he's got the list pared down quite a bit. We just issued this last one with the fire marshal's comments, the building inspector's comments, and who else was it? There was somebody else that was on it too. But anyway.
Rocco,
so
did you look at engineering, Steve's?
Yes,
You and, Dave?
engineering. Yep, they got engineering's comments as well. So I think that they want to have some time to pare down that list, and we're going to talk about it at tomorrow's meeting. But my last talk with Kyle, and Paul's probably in a better position to speak for him, but he told me he had that list of 300 items pared down to 60 last week. So
again, when can we provide, and I guess I'm talking from some sympathy to the contractor side of the fence, when can you guys put a final punch list on it and call it final, so when it's done, it's done?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Rocco and David, but the punch list we currently have, can we confirm that's final?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, so if we can get an update, once that list has been reduced to the 60 or 50 items or whatever, you think you can reissue that like you did this morning?
We can.
Okay. The next question is, there's some, I want to take a look at a couple of photos here. Have you look at a couple of photos. I had a couple of concerns when I was walking around the job this morning. This picture, Paul, where you guys cut down the sewer and the paving. Where are we on the paving? What else are you waiting for to finish your paving and finish your striping? Is there a change order that you haven't presented yet?
Yeah, we're working with QA&M on the revised grading plan for that area to accommodate the structures being cut down. That we're going back and forth on to just try to find the most cost-effective solution.
Okay. And the last question, well, not the last one, I guess, but the items that need to be converted to a PR so Paul can put a price on it. Because ideally, it would be nice to see a list of these items that are both change order to see how close, we are with our budget for Dave, in relationship to David's estimates. It would be nice to have a timeline associated with each line item. So if you have 10 items, it'd be nice to see 10 approximated dates to see when we're going to be completed. And then the last of that ties into this list, besides completion of the punch list, which, Paul, you'll have to put some dates to some of this if, in fact, when you get to this final punch list these next couple of days that gets issued, is, I guess, how does it affect our grand opening? And will the town, whoever's the official in this, give us our TCO so you can have your grand opening? And we can run on that TCO, because there's no chance that some of these items we're talking about are going to be completed by October 2nd. And I think we need to put a realistic date, because if we got to push it one more time, where, I walked up to the building today, doesn't look like much is going on because you're from the outside looking in. You haven't walked around yet inside the building. So people are starting to wonder, why can't we use the building if I don't see cranes and everything else laying around? We've got to start setting some dates and then stick to them. So you guys, I know you have your meeting tomorrow with the owners meeting tomorrow. Can we get these items down on paper so Thursday when we have our sub meeting, we can discuss this in greater detail. We get answers to these, and no more maybes, no more approximations. These are the dates. This is the worst case scenario, and call it a day. And let's see what works for getting this building open to the public, even on a TCO basis, if the town allows.
Yeah.
Sal, if I can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
So, of that punch list, how many items on that punch list are going to actually be turned into proposal requests? 5, half a
That's
dozen?
the main part of tomorrow's conversation, but I would say a dozen.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, if you've got a dozen, and Paul, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for you. I don't know how long it's going to, and not knowing the magnitude of each individual PR request that's out there, how long that would take you in order to put together before we as a group can say yay or nay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have it ready for Thursday.
Yeah, I wouldn't
that's
expect
a little
you to.
too quick.
Yeah.
But I am hoping to have everything in front of you by next week.
Okay.
Yeah, Sal and Tom, what you just described in terms of dates and milestones and targets and all that, we'll have.
You can't, right. Well, you can't do anything until you have these PRs done
Right.
in front of you. I
No,
mean,
but-
to talk about it would be foolish,
Right.
set dates to something if we don't have proposal request in front of us in order to say, okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say the first column in that analysis is going to be, when can we expect the proposal request? But we'll have something for Thursday's meeting.
For next Thursday, not this Thursday.
Well, we'll have something in place. I don't know how complete it's going to be, like you just pointed out, but we'll at least have the method of how we're going to do it in place and ready to go.
The bird's eye view of this whole, and the reason I'm bringing it up this way is we have two major issues here that we need to get some real lock on right now. The budget, obviously, being one, and I'm not suggesting this is in any particular order other than what John wants it in the order of. The budget and locking that in to make sure we're not over budget. And 2, the date of opening to the public and how we get there. And, I know sometimes you got to sort of jump a little bit to make that happen. But I think those are the two primary goals that we need to set. And obviously, everything else coming behind it that gives us those answers is where we need, Rocco, you need to get everything you can to Paul as quick as you possibly can. Paul needs to price it. He's been made aware a number of times. We need it right away. Because all these other items that can be completed, I mean, you know, we've got even just as much as that coffee station we're talking about at the main entry, you know, putting a sink over there. You know, that's not as simple as looks. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just as simple as cutting a hole, core a hole, pipe it, cut a hole through the counter and slip in a sink. Or maybe it's like ripping open walls, repiping, refinishing interior walls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I really hope it's not that bad, but you know, we need to know all that.
I'm hoping it's somewhere in the middle.
Right. So whatever the case may be, I mean, we get the PRs in front of Paul. He can set estimated dates because we know where things are standing when he talks to his subs, and start wrapping this thing up.
Here.
Those are the two big milestones that we need to get to: budget and date of opening. And if we do move it one more time, if John allows it, it's got to be moved one more time, and then that's it. We don't move it again. We can only use this COVID so long. Is everybody in agreement with this? All three?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
If I could just add, I'm sorry, guys, but
For sure.
we only got 3 weeks.
Right. Well, that's why I think, and again, John, you could speak more to this, or Phil, you guys need to speak more to this. And Mitch, as much as you may not want to move the date to second, you might have to seriously consider it. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from my standpoint that all the life safety issues will not be addressed by the second. I can tell you that right now.
And my take is if it takes moving it back, and I understand the frustration of the people that want to use this, but we want to get it right. We want to make sure it's safe. We're meeting all the criteria for them. You know, and I think that's the best way to, you know, I think that's the best way to move forward. The end result is they're going to have a beautiful new senior center. And, you know, these are some of the, unfortunately, at the 11th hour, we've gotten a few curveballs that were thrown at us that were not expected, and we have to address it.
Yeah, the indication that I've heard from, for instance, from the fire marshal is, like, for instance, the games room, the exterior exit on the games room where we showed you the ramp, Rocco showed you the ramp on the site plan that doesn't have the egress lighting or the railing on that. If that work is not done by October 2nd, the fire marshal's view of it is, I'm going to let you open the building, but you're not going to be able to use the games room for that specific item. They've been very cooperative. They're very willing to work with us. They understand the opening date. They also understand that, like Paul just said, there's no way in hell we're going to have all these life safety items completed by that time. They are willing to work with us. I am not seeing a or hearing of a you know, anything that needs to push that date, but we need to flush that out this week. We'll know more by Thursday, Sal. I hear what you're saying about budget and the schedule on these items, and that's really the heavy lifting of our meeting tomorrow on site with Paul and Rocco.
Okay. If nobody else has anything else before I move on to these couple of pictures I wanted to share with the group and talk to more about, I think it's more in Rocco's hands, these pictures. Are we ready?
Well, Sal, I just wanted to comment on the opening. As Dave said, if we have to shut down, you know, the game room in order to have the opening, and we can, you know, that's one option. Plus, we need to figure out what's going to happen to that sanitary pipe, because the understanding I have is those two bathrooms are part of whatever the building needs as part of its restroom standards and so on. So hopefully we can open something with life standards that we can put in the next 3 weeks, but with the understanding that we we should be able to shut down rooms if it's that walkway in the back and railings and lighting and all that. And if we can shut that down and continue to opening, I'd be encouraged with that. But I'm more worried about the sanitation pipes. But again, the sooner we know what we can and can't do, the better. So that's why hopefully have some idea like on this Thursday, because that's the planning that has to go into effect for this grand opening and so on, that outside of the construction side of it, that also causes problems too.
Mhm. Well, like you said, if the sanitary, I think at some point, how many more people do we want to bring in to find out that we don't have an answer when we know where the pinging is right inside the office? Bite the bullet and start ripping out that concrete, because you've got about a week's worth of work just pulling it apart, finding it, fixing it in a long week. I'm talking about possibly going into a weekend, and that means moving that guy out of there. But you can get that concrete up, and you could probably do a makeshift box, using plywood.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking the easiest work here either. We
No,
got to
we're
remember
not.
that sanitary pipe is 6 feet down, so it potentially impacts more than one office.
No, I understand.
We're
that,
just
because
hearing that.
You're
Yeah.
correct, Paul. I agree with you. You got a 1-to-1 ratio back. So the guy loses his office. You lose most of the concrete, if not all of it. But it's trying to dig it to the one side and have it almost like a makeshift box by using plywood down the hole as you dig, so you can not have to open up the next door neighbor's office, cutting that partition between the two. That's my hope, if you have to go that route. But we got to make a decision here pretty damn quick, because I don't know how many more times you can jet that out. We can't get CO or TCO without those two bathrooms. None of this is worth it. So I think we need a real serious update come Thursday, or maybe even Wednesday, sooner.
As far as the occupancy and the amount of, bathroom stalls per, however many people you could fit in there. I mean, that's something that Rocco can try to figure out and then have conversations with the building inspector. As far as an okay for a soft opening, so we can meet John's October 2nd date.
Right. I mean, and that's fine if you can get past that, but I think the reality is, I think at some point you're digging up that concrete. That's just my opinion.
And then it's timing.
Yeah.
I
I
Paul's
just-
right, and that's just an abandoned line that we've been chasing the wrong rabbit hole. I don't think
No.
so, but I hope he's right.
No, there's stuff, listen, that line is in use. Part of that line is in use. There's effluent flowing out of it into the manhole. Rather than, as Paul coined it, the nuclear option of opening up the slab on the inside, we all agreed that we were going to do our due diligence and try to find out what the plug is and try to clear it from the outside. Sal, I'd say we're a day away from knowing if that's going to work or not.
Right.
Yeah, so instead of beating a dead horse, let's move on, let you do your thing tomorrow, and we'll go from there. We'll know better by Thursday.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Sal, share your pictures.
Can you see those?
I don't have any popcorn. Yes.
You can see these. I cut it off a little bit, unfortunately, but this is right inside the playground. And there are a bunch of the nursery school kids right here. What can we do? This is kind of an unsafe condition. I mean, that drops off maybe 6 inches. It's not a little bit of a tripping hazard, but I'm more concerned with the kids playing in this area. Can we just build up the dirt around this and regrass, reseed this or something, or put turf here? Something just to kind of get rid of that sharp edging and a tripping hazard there, because it's in the playground area.
I think that's something we can look at, if you don't mind, like sending me the pictures or sending Paul the pictures, because Paul can't see them.
Oh,
But
sorry,
basically,
Paul.
you're looking right outside the multi-purpose room where the bench is, facing the
Or dropped off.
fire departments. Yeah.
We're about a couple of feet away from that fence, Paul. Your fenced in part. You know where the area I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. I'll send those pictures to you after, Rocco.
Okay.
This other one, there was concerns that were brought up that the sidewalk stops short tying into this sidewalk, which then leads to the left. Just outside that same fenced in area, Paul, the sidewalk that runs along the edge of where the parking is. So if you were to come out of the playground towards Old Main Street, you hit the first sidewalk, turn left, it ends, and then there's just grass. And then
Yeah,
there's a sidewalk perpendicular to it that goes along heading towards this library.
So the design intent for this area was that the sidewalk that ends is a sidewalk for the parking area. And that's all it is. The other sidewalk that traverses basically the whole site was the sidewalk we put in so someone could traverse from Old Main Street around the building to Church Street. Originally, we had that sidewalk between PD and fire department, and the PD didn't want it there. So that's kind of where it came from.
So
I
they
see
don't
as
want
everybody
that
thinks that
connected?
these should connect, but that wasn't the way they were designed.
No. They don't want this connected, is what you're telling me now?
The original design intent was they weren't to be connected.
Right, but what about now?
There have been people that have brought up, why aren't they connected?
Well,
I could tell you, I'm sorry, Sal,
Sure.
but I could tell you that we're worn out area is from people walking on that.
Walk in.
right,
So, to me, it makes sense to connect.
right.
Otherwise, people are walking through mud.
All right. So
At your
then,
owner's meeting tomorrow, I'll send you these pictures. It's a
Yep.
5 foot by 5 foot sidewalk path.
But I
So-
think, Sal, I think that's something the town can do through its contractor,
Yeah.
sidewalk
Yeah.
contractor, when this project's closed out.
the other issue that we're gonna have when you connect those sidewalks as they are, is that you'll need a handrail.
If we connect them,
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
probably the height differential, yeah.
And what
So-
about a step, Rocco?
You could do a step, and then you'll still need a handrail, because I'm pretty sure you're dropping more than 6 inches there.
I didn't look that way. Didn't look that much, but it could be the angle I'm taking it.
I think the picture gives a better, deeper angle. I
Yeah,
don't
it
think it's
does.
that bad.
No.
Okay.
But Kate, you guys are at the meeting outside that room tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's take a peek at it and see. So that's an important thing to the town. Can you see up in here along that hung ceiling or whatever the hell that is, where you could see through the clear store, you could see all the insulation as soon as you walk out any of the doors to around this room? Can we just tuck that back in? Just push it in?
That's a possibility. That'll be a picture we can show Paul. All right, we can point it out when we walk tomorrow.
I'll send
So
you.
he's
all-
looking in the little courtyard area, Paul, where you're looking up at the radiant panels from the outside.
Well, it's not just there, Rocco.
Yeah,
I know,
so-
it's that I'm just describing the picture. It's
Yeah.
so that the arts and crafts room and the exercise dance room both kind of look like that.
Yeah.
So it's the insulation laying on the radiant panels?
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll send the 3 pictures to you, Rocco, for tomorrow.
Yep.
You guys can discuss it and see, because if we've got to do anything with that, I mean, that, I don't know if that falls under punch list or if that falls under something else, so I'll leave it to you guys.
We have it on the punch list. I'm not sure what the resolution is, but it is on it.
And that's just a different angle of it, so that's it.
All right.
And I guess this is probably more a question for Rocco, just that picture just raised the question in my head. Are there any issues, exposure issues with the Dens glass or the system that we have that's exposed on the outside there with being so long, or is that not an issue?
No, the Dens glass that we have has an integral weather barrier to it. So it's warranted to be exposed to the outside elements for a year.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
All right, anybody have anything else for Paul?
No.
Okay, hearing none, let's move on to correspondence and communications. John, do you have anything for us?
No, I don't.
Okay. Bill payment recommendations. There are 2 invoices included in your packet.
Mona?
You ready?
There's 3 of them.
There's 3.
3.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
we-
ahead,
You
go ahead,
got a
Sal.
late pack, Bill.
Yes, we have 3 with PAC now.
Oh, okay. I should
Go ahead.
probably check my email. All right.
All right.
Which one, Brian? Which email should we send things to?
Enterprise.
Yeah.
A
Send it
Batty?
to my wife.
Send it to Batty?
We'll pay anything, right?
All right, so who wants to go ahead and start?
You ready? Here we go. I make a motion to pay, to approve invoice Quisenberry Arcuri Malik invoice number 13666, ironic, $6,831.52.
For the purpose of discussion, I'll second it.
Sorry,
The
Rob.
motion made in a second. Do I have any discussion? Any discussion?
Rocco's mileage. Did you have a replace your engine or something?
I think he moved.
That's what I'm shooting for. Hey,
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Let's see, Commissioner Todd Marchand has joined us, so I'll go with him first. Todd, give me a yay or nay, please.
Yay.
Steve,
Yay.
David,
Yay.
Tom,
Yay.
and Sal.
Yay.
All right, the yays have it. Invoice approved.
Make a motion to approve RZ Design invoice number 21-0655 in the amount of $3,500.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
For the purpose of discussion, I'll second it.
Second from Tom. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Any
just, what was this? Was this for some additional structural work they did?
It's their special inspections invoice.
Okay.
So a one-time invoice, they were under contract for it. We have
Okay.
their, what do you call it? Their certificate of special inspection, so they send
So they
it.
signed off on that?
Yeah,
And we have a copy of it? Okay.
Yep, looks like it's 100% complete, so, okay. And any other discussion? All right, hearing none, do a roll call vote, please. Commissioner Todd,
Yay.
Steve,
Yay.
David,
Yay.
Tom,
Yay.
and Sal.
Yay.
All right, invoice approved.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Pack Group LLC invoice number 2001715 in the amount of $81,115.27.
Motion made, do I have a second?
For the purpose of discussion, I'll second it.
Second by Tom. Any discussion? Any discussion? Last call for discussion on invoice for PAC. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Commissioner Todd, yay or nay?
Yay.
Steve,
Yay.
David,
Yay.
Tom,
Yay.
and Sal.
Yay.
All right, invoice approved. Next item, motion to adjourn.
Yay.
Yes, yes, I know, yay.
So moved.
Have I-
So
Motion made, do I have a
moved.
second.
Yeah.
I have a second. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 6:38 PM. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
Good
Me
night.
too, thank you.
Now we got